Launching on September 9, 1995, the Sony PlayStation was released at a time when Nintendo and Sega were dominating the video game console market. There was a lot of doubt surrounding Sony, primarily known as a consumer electronics company, entering the gaming sector with no prior experience. While initially launching without dedicated in-house development, Sony knew that establishing and growing a first-party development team would prove vital to long-term success. After a multiple-year partnership with Psygnosis, the developers of Wipeout, Sony purchased the studio in 1993, bringing future development in-house. The PlayStation launched with 12 titles and a price of $299, prompting their main competitor at the time, Sega, to drop the price of their new CD-ROM console by $100. Despite this effort by Sega, the PlayStation outsold the Sega Saturn by 2-1 by the end of 1995. It was an engineer at Sony, Ken Kutaragi, who had the vision to work with video games after seeing his daughter's love of Nintendo's Famicom video game console. Sony was uninterested in the video game business, but Kutaragi found support in Sony executive Norio Oga. What began as a joint venture in 1998, the Nintendo-Sony partnership ended after a failed attempt to release the hybrid system in the early 1990s. The failed console was known as the Super NES CD-ROM system and was planned to support both cartridges and CD-ROMs known as Super Discs. Despite the failed partnership with Nintendo, Kutaragi convinced Sony to continue with the development of its own console, the Sony PlayStation. The new console was able to gain the support of many third-party developers, and with its focus on 3D polygon graphics, proved to be a success among adolescents and adults. The PlayStation would go on to spawn various franchises such as Gran Turismo, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken, and Final Fantasy, including numerous sequels. PlayStation games, of which more than 4,000 were released, continued to sell for 11 years until production was ceased on March 23, 2006. The PlayStation marked Sony's rise to power in the video game industry, becoming the first entertainment platform to ship over 100 million units. In the year 2000, Sony would release a smaller and cheaper model, the PS1. That concludes our story of the PlayStation 1. Thank you all so much for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content.